Homeowner, you got a letter in the mail and it looked official and most likely it had your name on it. Maybe it didn't. You tossed it. It's a big mistake because that wasn't just another notice. That was a foreclosure notice, and it's in states like New York and New Jersey, this is the Lis Pendens. You just didn't know it. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what a Lis Pendens means, how it's being served, what this foreclosure notice triggers, and why most homeowners lose their homes simply because they didn't understand what this document actually is. So if you don't want to end up like one of those homeowners, then stick around. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you the one thing you still can do, but only if you're not too late. Let's start with what this foreclosure notice actually is. Because if you don't speak legalese, Lis Pendens means absolutely nothing to you. But here's what it means to the bank. It means that they started a foreclosure lawsuit against your home. That's what a Lis Pendens actually does. It tells the court and the public that there's a pending lawsuit on the home and that the lender is coming after it. This isn't some pre-foreclosure letter. This isn't a warning. It's a start of a legal process. So please don't throw this away. And in judicial states like New York and New Jersey, there's no separate notice of default like in other parts of the country. The Lis Pendens is it. And once it's filed, you're no longer waiting for the foreclosure to start. You're already in it. So if this is so serious, then why didn't you get something certified in the mail? And why wasn't this said to you directly? You were told, and let me show you how. When your bank decides to foreclose on your home, their attorney files a summons and complaint in court and files the Lis Pendens at the same time with the county clerk's office. Then they hire a processor to serve you. That service can happen in a few different ways. You might get handed the document in person. They might leave them with someone else at your home. Or if no one answers the door, they may get permission to mail or even tape it to your door. The problem with all of this is that most of the time, it doesn't look like anything urgent. There's no giant red foreclosure stamp anywhere. It's a legal packet with confusing language, and most people don't read it or give up on reading it. So it gets tossed or forgotten or buried somewhere under other bills. And the sad part about this is that by the time you actually realize what it actually is, the bank is already several steps ahead of you. When this happens, almost all of my clients ask me, so what happens once it's filed and what can I do next? Okay, let's say that Lis Pendens was filed. You got served. You're not sure what to do next. We need to understand what's already happening, whether you responded or not. And once the Lis Pendens is filed and served, the Lis Pendens sets off a chain reaction. One is that your case is now in court and the lawsuit is active. There's a docket number, there's a judge, and there's a process in motion, even if you haven't stepped into the courtroom at all. Number two is the legal timeline starts. You typically have about 20 to 30 days to respond, and it's depending on how you were actually served. And this is a legal response that is required, not a phone call, not a payment. If you miss that deadline, the court can issue a default judgment, meaning the bank wins without ever hearing your side. And number three is that your foreclosure becomes public. The Lis Pendens is searchable. That's why you suddenly start getting calls and letters from investors, wholesalers, and companies that want to help. Most of them aren't there to help you at all. They're there to profit off your confusion, unfortunately. And while you're trying to figure out who to trust, the court keeps moving forward with the foreclosure case. That's why the Lis Pendens is so dangerous. And the reason I warn you time again and again in every one of my videos that you must act before it's too late. Most people don't realize how deep they are until the court is ready to issue a sale date. We need to understand the timeline, so let's talk about that timeline. From the date you were served, the legal system starts counting. If you don't respond on time, the court assumes that you're not fighting to keep your home, that you're not looking for some kind of a workout, and they will assume that the lender can now move for a judgment of foreclosure. That gives the bank or servicer company the power to accelerate your loan or even schedule a foreclosure auction sale and legally take your home, even if you had a plan to fix that. It's not fair. But it's not about fairness, it's about process. And if you don't follow it, you will lose simply by default. That's why throwing away that letter can sabotage and cost you everything. If this has already happened to you, if you've got the foreclosure notice, the Lis Pendens in hand right now, you know you can still do something. But this is so time sensitive and not all of the options work equally well. Here's what might still be on the table for you. You can respond to the lawsuit. Now, even a late response may help you gain some time to figure out what you can or want to do next. You can apply for loss mitigation or a loan modification, but only if the lender hasn't moved too far forward yet. You might be able to enter mediation depending on where you live and how early you are in the process. And you can still sell the property and stop the foreclosure entirely if you don't delay your actions and if this is the best way to preserve the equity that has built and if that is what you'll decide to do in the end. But unfortunately, here's the part most people that have received the foreclosure notice already miss. Not all of the solutions are actually helpful. Some of what your lender might offer you, like a repayment plan or a trial modification, it may sound like progress at first, but when you're already 90 plus days behind, they can actually accelerate the foreclosure while you are believing that the lender is working with you. And so in the next video, I'm going to break it all down for you about which options might truly help you keep your home and which ones can move you closer to losing it. Don't agree to anything until you've watched that next video, because some of the worst damage happens after the Lis Pendens, when people trust the wrong solutions.